probably wondering why I'm wearing the new digs, because I just really wanted you to see me in a different way. For those of you who don't, thank you, darling. You like it? Yeah. Thank you. And those of you who don't know me. For those of you who don't, oh, I like that. For those of you who don't know me, I am a unity minister. But the reason why I'm wearing this is because I was invited to talk about unity and Buddhism. And it just happened that Mark thought of me because I also am a Buddhist monk, and I am also an ordained Buddhist priest. So I have a triple ordination. Don't ask me why I wanted that, but I did. And so I am a fully ordained monk in the Zen Buddhist practice lineage, and I am considered a priest in the Vietnamese Buddhist tradition. So basically the difference is that just like Christianity, you have, the variant levels of Christianity. In Buddhism, you have the same thing. So I'm just part of two different lineages. And so today I thought, let me just monk up a little bit. Let me just bring my monk attire. I love these two. Oh yeah, we're gonna monk up. Yeah, I wish you could have caught that picture. And so today the subject is unity and Buddhism. And we're gonna also try to add in some Advent faith. So we'll see how we'll work this out here. And they really do go together, because really Buddhism is a lot to do about having faith. And I loved this, the daily word today that Tim just read, because a lot of people don't realize that in Buddhism, when we talk about a Buddha nature, it's really the same as the Christ nature. And in Buddhism, it's really about having faith in that divine self. We know that here we teach there's faith in our Christ self, and that within that Christ, that we are one. We are one with one another, and we are one within the body of God. Now, Christianity would think that we're in the body of Christ. No, we teach that we are one in the body of the one, which is God. So the name of my talk is I Don't Know. Now, I'll tell you right now, I don't know if he wants me to tell you this, but Mark was like, interesting. There's no judgment there. He was just like, But a part of being Buddhist is having that questioning mind. And I know that one of the things that was difficult for me is that as I go through my spiritual journey, as I deepen my spiritual journey, I come to the realization that I don't know anything. I really don't. I know I've heard other ministers say that, and I didn't understand it until I went through it myself. Now, I'll be honest, I know my name, I know my age, and then anything beyond that, the reality is that we really don't know. You can go to academic life and in science, which most people will go to. Well, in science, we prove this. In science, there are theories. They prove theories, and then they reprove theories. That's the beauty of science. It changes. What we thought was true ends up really not being true, but it is a stepping stone to a new truth. And so I know that as I look at your faces, I also had to adjust to the fact that I did not know anything. I'm not calling myself stupid. I'm quite an intelligent person. But what you realize is that when you have the onus of having to know everything on your shoulders, it is hard. It is harsh. And that, my dear friends, really does cause a multitude of suffering for you. I mean, think about it. Having to go through all the times trying to be right and then trying to figure out when you're wrong how to be right. How are you feeling right now? Did your energy shift a little bit? Worry starts to set in. Your status, thoughts of your status starts coming up. And so when you come to the realization that I really don't know anything, it really is a freeing. It's a permission not to have to know anything. And you know what? It's all right. Actually, it's perfect, because the oddity is that when you realize that you don't know anything, it allows yourself to see everything. Because you're no longer blocking yourself. You're no longer trying to be right, trying to fit into a mode. But all of a sudden, when you realize that there's so many different ways to see everything, and that you don't have to be right about any of it, it opens you up to see everything. It is because of this that we can be freed from suffering. That's my terminology of Buddhism. In the I don't know mind, that is what Buddhism teaches, and in many ways, that is what unity teaches. Here's the only way I will make a difference between unity and Buddhism, because really, in all honesty, unity is so very Buddhist only because our founders, Charles and Myrtle Fillmore, looked at Eastern philosophies. And they really did have an emphasis on Hinduism and Buddhism. If you look at the archives or go into the archives, they actually sold books about Buddhism and Hinduism. Charles and Myrtle Fillmore used to have a mail order book. And in their catalog, they had these. And you can see the influence all through unity. I think you can see the influence by how many quotes come from Thich Nhat Hanh or Buddha, how the influence is there. But the difference of most Christian religions, which is unity kind of fits in on, if you were to ask Charles, he would say that we're Christian. And the difference between Buddhism is that in our philosophy and in the Western world, we're always trying to create something. We're trying to make something. We're trying to pick things up. In Buddhism, it is the complete opposite. We're not trying to make anything, and we're trying to lay everything down. We're not trying to complicate things. We're trying to free ourselves. But even in unity, I have found that unity is kind of muddy that way. I can't tell you how many people have come to me and said, all right, so what do you believe? Do you believe in the creative process where you visualize, you make boards up, treasure maps, and you visualize it, and because you see it, you create it? Or am I supposed to be open? Am I just supposed to be an open conduit and to have faith that no matter where God takes me, or this entity, I don't care what you call God, is guiding me into the right place? And that there is a divine order for my life based on the goodness that God really has for us. And I will tell you, most people who've heard me speak, and a lot of you have heard me speak over the years, that I was a big conduit, a big advocate for, oh yeah, create, visualize, see it in your mind, speak it in your words, and go for it. I mean, that's how I grew up. I'm Western. Most of you know that I was vice president in an advertising agency, so you know I was really there. That was right up my line, because make goals, achieve them, and whip people into shape so they're going for your goals. I hope none of you guys are middle management, because I didn't mean that. Yes, I did. And especially in advertising, that's what I was paid to do. And I found in my journey, and it's been a long journey of 2 years, of changing my consciousness, of just really walking the talk and having faith. And in walking that talk, I then all of a sudden had to put everything down. Put down the treasure mapping. I still keep my words true. I don't want to pollute. And in Buddhism, you have that. And in Buddhism, you have goals. You know, a lot of people think that you don't have goals. Hello, we need goals. We need to eat, clothe ourselves, get from one place to another. Goals are not bad. It's our expectations of them. It's our expecting that we are going to get from one place to another exactly the way we think. So as I'm walking, I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to forget you guys, and I'm just going to play with the kids. And so, of course, I start walking towards the door, and I might see this person, or I might see you, I might say hi. And all of a sudden, I start getting agitated because my goal isn't the same. It's being diverted. And all of a sudden, I start getting mad because I'm supposed to be going this way, but I'm going this way instead. In Buddhism, you lay all that down. The whole meaning of being right here is being right here. And knowing that eventually, if that goal is true, that you will get to that location. So a lot of you probably have heard what the premises of Buddhism are. And so I'm just going to go over them, just kind of a Buddhism 101, and simplify the terminology. How many of you guys have heard about this thing called the Four Noble Truths? All right. And usually in the Western world, you know, people think of it as mystical. You know, there are these four truths, and there's this woo-woo stuff happening, and it really is practical. Zen, Buddhism is not a religion. You can think of it as a process. The process is so that you can live a better life. Same thing that we do here. That's actually how I got into Buddhism, is because I knew that there was something more. Something that I just wasn't learning, something I could do differently. And realizing that I just didn't know. So the Four Noble Truths are this thing called dukkha. Now, I remember the word because my word association had to say doo-doo. And the meaning of dukkha is that there is suffering. There is doo-doo happening in your life. So for me, that was appropriate. Dukkha, doo-doo. And in many ways, you will hear, which completely kind of goes against our unity, you don't speak this into knowledge, but dukkha means that there is suffering. Now, most people will translate dukkha into life is suffering. In my order, we believe that that is a misuse of the translation. It isn't that life is suffering, it means, though, that there is suffering within life. And no matter how positive we are, we all know that doo-doo happens. Stuff happens in our life. And no matter what you think, no matter how you try to figure it out, there just comes to a point where stuff just happens, and you can try to think it away, you can use your affirmations and denials, you can start trying to think, why did this happen to me? And all that will get you is more suffering. Suffering is a reality. Pain is a reality. Let me change that. Pain is a reality. Suffering is an option. Let me say it again. Pain is a reality. If I accidentally stub my toe, that's going to be painful. Do I need to stay within that and suffer it? That is my option. So let me reword it. Another term for dukkha is dissatisfaction. And so I use that for us unity people because we can kind of fit into that more than suffering. I know I don't like the word suffering myself. But there are many times in my life that I'm dissatisfied. And you think about it. Even if we achieve our goals, we celebrate, and then what is the next thing we do after we achieve our goals? We're dissatisfied because we're trying to go to that next higher goal. And we find ourselves back into the same circle of satisfaction, dissatisfaction, satisfaction, dissatisfaction. But there's a reason why. The Four Noble Truths, that was the first noble truth. There's stuff that happens. Second noble truth is the reasons why stuff happens. The reasons why stuff happen is because what? We attach to things. Unity teaches the same thing in our thoughts, words, and actions. What are you attached to? What are you thinking? And usually what we are attached to are the things that we have had. We're usually attached to the things of our past, trying to bring them back into our now, or trying to propel them into our future. We hold on to things so hard, forgetting that we are in a changing world. Our world changes. That's what it does. There's an acceptance at some point in time that no matter how good things are, that reality is going to change. So set it free. Let it go. Do not attach to it. Because it's only doing what it's supposed to do. Change. The other component, the origin of dukkha, is desire. I don't know why I always say that, and I have that, what is it, the U2 song? Desire. Anyway, desire, wanting, craving. And many people will ask me who I've gone on this trek, so you're going to give up all of your desires. That isn't what we're talking about. Again, as most of you know, I talk about passion all the time, living a passionate life, being happy. That hasn't changed for me. What we're talking about here in the desiring, the wanting, the craving, that addictive thing, that thing where you are wanting something that you don't have. Many times the example is we usually want something that we don't have because it's in the future. We want something, we want our lives to be a certain way, we want our children to be a certain way, we want money, we want cars, we want. And then we become attached to that wanting. And if it doesn't work out for us, what happens? We're ticked, we're sad, we're in pain, and we're wondering, why are we suffering? Well, that's why we're suffering. Because we're attached to an idea, we're attached to a wanting. Now let me kind of calm this down a little bit, because we're all going to want things. I'm not going to stand here and lie to you and say that I want different things. I want a new car. I want a better life for all of us. I want world peace. But where I'm free about it is that I'm not trying to mandate how that looks. I'm detached from the outpicturing of it. And how I've shifted is having faith. Faith that the higher being, if you believe it, not all Buddhists believe in God. It isn't even about a higher source. It's really about you. But at some point in time, it's really about detaching from the outcome and stop holding on to your past. The fourth noble truth is, in Christian terms, there's good news. The good news is that you can stop it. There's a ceasing of it. Just like the gospel, the Buddhist way is the way of showing you out of the darkness into light. And the pathway to censation are the eightfold path. And so I'm not going to really go into the the pathway, but I will tell you what they are, and I will merge them. Because the reality is that we all have the capabilities to stop our desires. Again, don't be scared of that word, desires. The addiction to things is more of what it is. And to stop our bondage to the past. The pathway is right thought. Sounds familiar to you with unity? Stop your stinking thinking. Be conscious of what you're thinking. Have a right understanding of your situation. In so many ways, unity teaches that. There's a misuse of the thoughts of affirmation and denial and affirmation. There's no way where in any of the books in unity that Charles Fillmore or Myrtle Fillmore says that stuff isn't happening. There's no writing that says that your life will be pain-free. Nowhere does he write that. And so the unity people who kind of go, shh, don't say those things. You'll create something. The stuff is already happening. What Charles Fillmore does say, that when stuff happens, don't allow it to control you. That is what the denial is. If your foot hurts, your foot hurts. Why are you denying the truth? Or why are you denying a fact? But again, the truth is that be conscious. You do not have to live in that suffering of whatever pain you are in. And Charles Fillmore speak, it has no power over you. And all you have to do is to change what is in your thoughts and affirm the positive. Right speech. Again, right action, our fifth principle. Just do it, right action. Number 5, right livelihood. Number 6, right effort. Number 7, right mindfulness. And right concentration. See, Buddhism isn't airy-fairy. It's actually, I think as I'm talking, you can see where unity, it's very unity, or actually unity has taken a lot of things from it. It's really about freeing yourself from things in your consciousness, figuring out, just like a 12-step program, what the problem is. Hi, my name is Crystal, and I have stinking thinking. And what is that stinking thinking? It's really all about that. and then figuring out the way to stop it. Now, I brought a video, and I couldn't transfer it, but I would invite you to go to YouTube. There's a Bob Newhart skit called Stop It. Now picture this, me, and I have a teacher, and every Friday we would meet, and part of my lessons were to describe what I'm going through, spiritual lessons, as we're walking around this pond. It was in a 100-something degree weather, so yes, we were a little sweaty, but don't picture that. It was a beautiful pond, and all the geese and ducks. There were even some turtles swimming around, and there were families and chicks, and it's a beautiful scene. And as I'm pouring my heart out to my teacher, talking about the journeys I'm going through, the things where I'm seeing suffering happen in my life, my teacher flips up this one YouTube thing, and he talks about how Bob Newhart is playing this counselor. And he says, we only need 5 minutes. Most counselors, you have an hour. It's $1 a minute, but I guarantee you, all you need is 5 minutes. And so he does his watch, and he times the woman. He goes, go, tell me your thought. And so she starts telling him about how she has this fear about being placed in a box and buried. And so she goes over it for a little bit. And so he goes, okay, I think I understand your problem. You're claustrophobic. She goes, yeah. And he goes, I only have 2 words for you. She goes, wait a minute, let me get my paper and pen. He goes, I don't think you'll need it. It's only 2 words. Most people remember 2 words. And so she's like, all right. So she's looking attentively at him. He goes, stop it. And she goes back, and she's like, what? And he goes, you know what? I'm amazed at how many people I say this to and ask that same question. Stop it. So as I'm walking down this very beautiful park on the lake with the leaves and things, my very serene Buddhist teacher just yells, stop it. That is really, in all honesty, to get away from our suffering is all we really have to do. And I would tell you, as I informed him, is that it's easier said than done. And of course it is easier said than done, because if we could just stop it, we would have stopped it, yes? As I told him, in not so certain words. Just as this woman told Bob Newhart. There are tools. There are tools in which we can stop the suffering. That is the good news in Buddhism. And that is what the Eightfold Path is. But we use the same tools, and that's where Unity has borrowed things from Buddhism and Hinduism. One of the things, and it's a tag word now, is mindfulness. Buddhism is really about being mindful about what are in your thoughts, and that's what the Eightfold Path is. What are you thinking? What is your understanding? What are you speaking? And how are your actions carrying that? One of the first things that my teacher gave me was this mala. That's pretty cool. I love it. And my first lesson was to every time I'm conscious of this mala is to figure out where my mind is. I can be walking, I can be showering or whatever. As soon as, whether it's on my wrist or not, as soon as I have a conscious thought or a feeling of it, I'm supposed to stop and figure out, what am I thinking? How powerful. Because even as I stand here with you, and I can kind of tote my 3 ordinations, I tell you, I got some stinking thinking still going on. It's an ongoing process. The deeper that you go into your spiritual training, the more you find out what was hidden. The things that you didn't even know about your thinking. Mindfulness is a powerful tool. In all actuality, all the times I've been here, I've been teaching you about mindfulness anyway. The fearful journey into your consciousness and having a look at it. That's really all mindfulness is all about. Is being able to right now say what your thinking is and then just releasing it. It's not about having a judgment about it. It's not about any of that stuff. It's just about stopping it and finding ways to easily let it go. So I invite you. You don't need necessarily a bracelet mala. A lot of people think of this and say, oh yeah, I had one of those rubber bands and every time I had a thought, I'd snap it. No. Be much gentler with yourself with that. You don't have to snap it out. I mean, in all honesty, for me, I'll just say for me, that just seems like a little punishment for having that thought. And we're not trying to punish you. I'm not trying to don't punish yourself, all right, for having that thought. Be compassionate with yourself. Just bring it up to memory and go, oh, I don't want that thinking. That's interesting. Wow, I did not really consciously know that. And then figure out what you want to do with it. Do you want to keep it or do you want to let it go? That's all you have to do. So pick an object, a nice, gentle, it could be a ring that you always wear. You can get your own mala. You don't have to, just something that you will always kind of think about, that you always have in your hand. And when you think about it, stop and go, what am I thinking about? What am I doing? What am I about to say? And see if that aligns with the person that you really want to be. Easy, isn't it? Yeah. Stopping it, maybe not as easy. But having that full awareness of what's in your consciousness, that's all it's all about. And the second thing, this is very, very unity. A lot of people are like, wow. A lot of people don't really realize that meditation came from the Eastern trains of thought. And that's one of the things that Charles Fillmore brought in to unity. Best tool, and actually that's one of the things that, depending on your translation of Zen, is what Zen, the word Zen means. It's coming to stillness, i.e. meditating. So we're going to change things around here. Usually, towards the end of the talk, I would invite the choir up. They would do a special meditation song. And then I go into meditation. We're going to flip that around. So that you know that there you have this tool. I'm going to invite you to meditate. And I'm going to invite you to meditate in a special way. And it's called insight meditation. There are various ways you can do insight meditation. I'm just going to give you a kind of a beginner's course. And with insight meditation, it's really gentle and loving to yourself because it's really all about paying attention to your breathing. And so I'm not even going to do really the guided meditation like I usually do. I'm just going to kind of walk you into a deep kind of train of thought where you're just kind of counting. I'll start you off and then I'll leave you to count yourself. And then you'll stop counting, and then all you really need to do is think about, concentrate on the breath in and the breath out. And if you find that your mind wanders, don't judge it. Example, I'm in, out, man, isn't this been about an hour? Don't judge it. And I will not be judging you either. Just allow that thought to come in and go away. In the same manner in which you will be doing your mindfulness practice. And so then as soon as you see a thought come in, just go back to your breath. I'm breathing in. I'm breathing. Don't even say I'm breathing in. Just notice. Feel the breath, the air, come into your nostrils. And then feel the air go out of your body. And that's all you need to do to concentrate. And so on that, let us begin. I invite you to settle in your chair. And I really invite you to close your eyes, put your back against the chair, just so that you can just be fully comfortable. Again, we're trusting. You don't need to know everything that's going around you. And I invite you to feel your whole body in the chair and just relax. I invite you that as I count up to 5, that you'll feel a deeper sensation of relaxation. And then after I count to 5, we'll have a time of silence. And in that time, concentrate on your breathing, in and out. So 1, as you go in, you feel your body against the chair. 2, you feel your shoulders just relax. 3, you find that the weight of your body is more into the chair. 4, you're already getting a sense of breathing in, breathing out. 5, you just release, let go. Breathing in breathing out. Very easily, very gently. I welcome you just to come back to the now. Just allow yourself to come back, feeling your body against the chair. Come back into the now, listening to my voice. I invite you to start with your feet. Just gently wiggle your feet. And still kind of concentrating on your breathing. I invite you to move your torso, feeling your body come back now. And just easily and effortlessly move your head to and fro, circling it gently, never losing thought of your breath. And when you're ready, I invite you to open your eyes in the here and now. Know that you can always have this peaceful feeling anytime the pain comes, time chaos in your life. You can just remember, go into a quiet spot, just close your eyes, just concentrate on your breathing, knowing that pain does happen, and thanking God that there is change, and that your circumstances will change for the better. And here are a couple simple tools that will get you there. So I thank you for having me to speak about two spiritual loves, Buddhism and unity. Namaste.